Washington Post columnist spends segment trying to shut down Scott Jennings, but Jennings won't be silenced. I haven't really seen this clip yet. It's a pretty long clip, so we're just going to jump right into it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's jump into this news. Washington Post columnist Josh Rogan tried shutting down Republican strategist Scott Jennings Tuesday night during a panel discussion about a buyout offer for Central Intelligence Agency employees. So let's just get to the clip here. Like I said, it's pretty long clip. So let's just jump right into it.
Is Donald Trump about to put all of America's spies out of work? A CIA spokesperson and sources familiar telling CNN tonight that the agency's entire workforce received buyout offers today. How does this work?
This is exactly what Project 2025 said.
Oh, no, not the Project 2025.
Here they go, the boogeyman. Oh, Project 2025. No, that's not what this is. This is cleaning out corruption. This is getting rid of the corrupt bureaucrats that's working within our government. That's what this is about.
As much as we talked about on all these shows for months that Donald Trump said he knew nothing about Project 2025 and he didn't adhere to it, and even though everyone that drew it up worked for him, this is exactly, I went back and looked at Project 2025 tonight. Eliminate up to 1 million federal jobs, cut federal workers' daily and benefits, make it easier to discriminate against people of color, women, dismantle and privatize.
Hold on. It does not say make it easy to discriminate against people of color and women. He is making that stuff up. Wow, these people are ridiculous. They just never learn. They continue to double down on their lies and deceit, which is exactly why no one listens to the mainstream media anymore.
As federal agencies, they most certainly have done that.
They have not done that.
They've made it easier to
discriminate. He has not changed federal civil rights laws. He revoked an old executive order and then kept in place other protections.
It's coming.
That protect federal employees by putting everyone in the U.S. aid workforce on leave tonight, just before the show. We're calling thousands of people who are.
Why are they fighting so hard to take away our tax, to give our tax dollars to other people and people that don't deserve it? Politico got $34 million. I talked about it a little bit on the update today. And we're sending money to terrorists and for LGBTQ stuff in other countries, like just billions upon billions of dollars. For what? How is that protect our interests? Like, this is ridiculous. And I've never seen people come out the woodwork so hard to defend giving our money away.
We're in hardship positions in foreign countries who have people's lives in their hands and telling them they have to uproot their families and come back to the United States and abandon those people, means a lot of people are going to die, innocent people, needlessly, for the stupidity of a process that cuts first and asks questions later. And this is the kind of crude and ignorant and sort of cruel policy that we see across the federal government. I have friends in every department who don't know if they can pay their mortgages, don't know if their kids are going to be able to stay in school because they might have to move. And these are people who often are, in almost all cases, are patriotic Americans who signed up to serve their country. But
they're getting severance. What are you talking about, bro? They're not just getting fired. They're getting severance up to September, so they're able to find other jobs. They can continue paying their bills. It's not like they're just getting fired and kicked to the curb. What are you talking about, dude?
None of that's going to happen because of the CIA buyout. They get offered 8 months if they want it. About 1% of federal employees have taken the other buyouts.
You think we don't need the CIA?
But that's not what anyone said. A buyout is an option that they can take if they want, and not 8 months paid leave.
And you might get fired.
How does defunding the CIA actually make us stronger?
Good question.
My question is, like, if you're going to go out and defund law enforcement, and you gave us hell, Democrats, with that awful talking point that they ran around the country with 4 years ago, but if you're going to defund,
we got a black man defending the CIA. They hate Trump so bad that this man is defending the Central Intelligence Agency. Wow. Bacardi Sellers is a ignorant dude that thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's so smart. This is crazy. How are you defending, as a black man, how are you defending the CIA, man? One of the corrupt organizations in one of the most corrupt what do you call it? Governmental departments in our country. How do you defend that? The CIA, they're supposed to be used for counterintelligence in other countries, but they've been turned around and used on the American people. How are you defending that, Bakari, or whatever your name is?
Law enforcement, right? How does this actually make us stronger around the world?
This doesn't reduce the CIA's budget. They're offering people to take out.
We're not talking about that.
And I think they can afford a 1% shave of the head count at the CIA.
We're
not a massive bloated agency.
Just to people understand what you're talking about, 1% is what we are being told at the moment has been the take-up rate.
How many CIA?
It's not to say that is what they want. They have said, Doge and those folks, they said they want it to be 10 to 15% of the work.
And here she go, Captain Save-A-Ho. Captain Save-A-Ho here. She's supposed to be a moderator, but she's always jumping in to defend Democrats. This is crazy.
But absolutely do that.
So the question is, if you just go ahead and say 10 to 15% of the workforce at the FBI, at the CIA, go away, and you don't have a plan to, let's say you want to replace them with different kinds of people, but
we don't want to replace them. That's the thing. They don't need to be replaced. We are trying to cut government waste. We don't need all these people in government. That's what she's not understanding. We are not going to replace these people.
Don't have a plan to do that. How does that make us safer?
A, I don't think they want to replace them. I think they want to reduce the size of the government.
How does that make us safer?
B, well, I mean, I don't know that it makes us unsafe to have a slightly smaller government. B,
right.
On this buyouts across the board, I want
to be clear. We're talking here about.
Here she go. She's supposed to be a moderator. That's not moderating by cutting people off that are speaking. It's his turn to speak, and you keep cutting them off. Oh, I can't stand this woman here.
The CIA and the FBI. I'm not talking about the government.
They are in the government. But
they are in the government.
I'm talking about specific agencies that are tasked with national security and law enforcement responsibilities.
I think in those agencies and in every agency, for any Republican president, it is a fair assessment that most of the federal bureaucracy, a good chunk of it, bloated, is openly hostile to your worldview and your agenda.
That's number one. That is true.
That is absolutely true.
It's ridiculous.
Of course, let me finish.
Finish your point.
And so you could walk in and say, everybody who doesn't support me leave, or you could walk in and say, I'm going to give you the option. If you don't feel like you can support my agenda, here's a pretty generous way out for the moment because you don't have to work.
Or you can say, to me, I think he's treating people. Let me finish.
I think he's treating people who simply, and it's their right to have a political opinion, he's treating people who may not support his agenda in a fair and humane way if they don't feel like they can execute his agenda.
May I please point out Scott and Brad's hypocrisy just for one moment? Because here they're utilizing the talking point saying that these agencies are bloated, that we can afford to trim it down, that we need to eliminate some of the fat, that we need to reallocate these dollars. Let's go back to the point that I made earlier about defunding the police. When the individuals were in these communities saying that police budgets were too much, that we need to reallocate funds, that we need to trim,
Who is saying that right now? Who is saying defund the police except for a handful of people right now? Because crime is out of control, and we tried to defund the police thing, and it didn't work. It made crime worse. So you can't compare the two, bruh. You can't compare the two. We're talking about local police, and it's totally different from cutting the budget. Or letting people leave the CIA. That's two totally different things. You can't compare the two, man. Apples and oranges.
We need to cut back, that we need to put these funds in schools and other community programs and not allocate it to these bloated police forces. These individuals who are sitting here, Brad and Scott, went out and said that that's anti-American. That's anti-police. This is something you should not do. But when we're talking about the FBI and CIA feeding into this conservative...
Those are actually CIA's not picking up drug dealers in
local law enforcement
and
spooks
totally different.
Are very different things.
First of all,
we're talking about the CIA
I'm going to talk about the CIA, and I'm going to talk about the FBI, and I'm not going to diminish their role as law enforcement officers in keeping us safe. And all I'm saying is that out of one breath, if you're going to sit here and lambast people, because what I believe is that I thought that defund the police movement was not in line with where the American public is. I also think saying that we're going to cut 10 to 15% of our CIA and FBI agents is not where the American public is.
God forbid you go back to 2012 head counts or 2016 head counts. The federal government has only ever moved in one direction in recent decades, and it's up and up and up. More employees, more of our taxpayer money being spent.
To doing this in a way that actually identifies the things that you want to cut.
That is valid. This is chaos. I agree.
Here we go. I don't think anybody
we can agree on that. It's not an orderly way to do this. The beast needs to be tamed.
Wait a second. One at a time, please. Let me just finish my thought here, okay? Whatever happened to saying, maybe this is what you're saying, there are certain functions maybe we should be doing less of. Certain departments maybe we should have a lot less of. Why not do that instead of just saying, let's just take a
because they've made it so hard.
The whole thing.
They've made it so hard with such intense protections for civil servants.
Here's Trump's been able to do whatever he wanted.
Let me let you in. Here's what I think. I think it's just laziness. Wow. I think it's harder to do it the other way. Wow. And this way gets better headlines, but it's lazy.
It won't work.
And it does not require...
It will not work the other way. You have to go in with the hammer. That's the only way to take out the administrative state because they got so many protections. We see them fighting back now, right? I mean... If we don't do it this way, it will never get done. Trump tried it the other way during his first term, and the deep state was still there. He never drained the swamp. So he had to go in with a hammer to do it.
Any thought, it does not require governance, it does not require any leadership, and hey, it's easy, and you get the headlines you're looking for.
And it's harder to combat because it's so crazy and so fast and so illegal. But there's one point that Scott made that I really have to take issue with, that we're treating these federal workers humanely. Because, you know, if you talk to any of them, and I've talked to hundreds of them over the last few weeks, hundreds, and I know hundreds of them, and I've known thousands of them over the course of my time living in D.C., and what you fail to understand is that everyone who has a job in the federal government has an opinion. Everyone has a view. What we grant them is the respect of knowing that they can do their jobs and put their political opinions aside. Does it happen in every single case?
Some of them.
That did not happen during Trump's first term. That's why he's going in with the hammer today. This term. That's what are you talking about, bro? We tried it that way before, and it didn't work.
But the vast majority pride themselves in serving America. And when you go in and you say you're either with Trump or get out, you're the one politicizing the federal government, not the people inside the federal government.
These are not forced.
And what happens, Scott, when a Democrat takes over and goes into every agency and says, okay, all the Republicans out?
No Democrat.
There aren't very many in the first place.
Scott, your last word.
A, no Democrat's going to shrink the government. B, they're not forcing anyone out. These are voluntary buyouts.
No.
They're voluntary, and the CIA is voluntary.
Every U.S. employee in the country.
Yes, they are reorienting. They are reorienting the soft power bureaucracy. But that's different than the buyout program. They're not making anyone take a buyout. They're saying if you want to leave, go ahead.
Or you might get fired.
And some will do it.
They're not saying plan B.
Or you might get fired.
Plan B is that they're probably going to be let go after.
Probably.
They're terrorizing Americans.
It's not terrorizing to get an offer.
You want the tiny violin out for the people being offered 8 months of paid vacation.
You may not care about
CIA agents. Americans who can't afford groceries. 8 months of paid vacation.
Right.
Right. Because these people buy groceries too. Because they are Americans who buy groceries.
And they're very well paid.
Their job.
And they work for taxpayers.
I want to circle back really quickly.
Disrespect of the federal workforce.
I'm gonna get out of that portion because I agree with Josh, but at the end of the day, no one around this table can answer that one simple question that we started with. Like, how does this policy initiative make us safer?
How does it not make us safer?
How does it make us unsafe?
You can't answer
that. Firing law enforcement and CIA.
CIA is not law enforcement. They do not patrol your city and pick up the drug dealers outside your kid's school. They do not.
Thank you.
In answer to your comments, Scott, we got to go. But in answer to your comments, Scott, one of the things that the CIA spokesperson said was that they actually want to reorient the CIA toward things that the CIA already does, which is look into places like Mexico and try to find intelligence about cartels and about drug dealers and all of those things. They already do that. They already do that. And so when it comes to law enforcement...
Sounds like we need to work a little harder.
No, Scott.
Right?
When it comes to... You just adamantly said they're not involved in law enforcement.
Not
they are
domestically.
But they are involved in the national security of the country. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and I don't know that reducing a slight amount of headcount makes us less safe. And if the people who are working there don't feel like they can execute on the agenda of this administration, I question whether they would be working hard on it anyway.
An ideological litmus test for everyone in the United States government. Stand by for us coming up next. As Elon Musk continues...
Wow. It just infuriates me. It's so frustrating watching CNN. I don't know how I don't know how Scott Jennings can be on there and keep a straight face. Well, he makes a bunch of faces, so he don't really make a straight face, but how he keeps his composure is what I mean. I don't understand, because I would not be able to keep my composure dealing with these idiots on CNN. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.